if I have any friends who don't look at me negatively after this video, well, that'll be a good thing, I guess. Hello friends, happy Sunday. It is a beautiful day outside. So I took the Specker quiz last night after I shot my video, but I found myself getting very frustrated about halfway through the questions because I was just so hyper aware of the bias in the quiz. Now, I'm not saying that the quiz isn't informative, because I would agree with the sentiment of my result, but I wouldn't say that it's as extreme as the quiz made it seem. Okay, so the official label I was given was liberal. A lot of you are probably not surprised by that based on the way I talk in these videos. So according to the results of this quiz, I support a balance of both economic freedom and restriction, alongside light restrictions on cultural freedom. And I oppose economic deregulation and any reduction in taxes. Also, this quiz gives you an economic score and a cultural score, which I think is interesting, even though I don't quite understand exactly what those numbers actually mean. They confuse me a little bit. I got an economic score of 7 and a cultural score of -52. I'm sure you can see why I'm a little bit confused, because I don't know what the -52 actually means. But there are quite a few other labels and ranges in the spectrum, which is why I find this quiz interesting. So to be placed in the box of liberal was frustrating for me, not because I didn't want to be called liberal, but because I don't think it's quite as accurate as it could be. I think it would be dishonest of me to just call myself a liberal with no strings attached to that label. I think I've been dancing around the main point of this video, so I'll just tell you a couple of things that you can take as they are, and I sincerely hope that you don't believe me to be a bad person for any of the things that I'm about to say. I understand the need for a military, but I do not understand the need to be a superpower. Along the same lines, I respect every person who chooses to serve our country in the military, because A, it's not something I would ever be comfortable with / feel the call to do, and B, it's a friggin' honorable thing to lay down your life for other people. So I do respect and support that area of our country and the people that are in the military. With that being said, I am uncomfortable with the cult-like behavior that people fall into when discussing how we must treat the idea of the military. So while I respect the people who serve, and I respect that those people feel the call to duty, I do not understand fully the necessity of that many people feeling the call to duty. So that brings me to the overarching theme of these opinions that could be very unpopular. I am uncomfortable with nationalism. I love the United States because this is my home, and I have seen great people do great things in my lifetime. I love history. I've seen great people do great things in our history. I've also seen some really awful people who have been practically worshipped because of their position or things that they accomplished, but they were awful, awful people who manipulated and tortured and killed, depending on the circumstance or their position in the United States. I can't I can't in good faith blindly accept that those people are 100% role models. I don't understand the obsession with people having rights, which is why I don't believe I actually fit the label of liberal, because both liberal and conservative labels describe people who believe passionately in rights. And I honestly don't know what other word fits in place of rights for me. And I also realize that a lot of people who know me are going to not understand what I mean here, because I've always been a person who fights for justice, and justice goes hand in hand with rights. But I think that's, again, where my actions versus the way I believe things should be don't always match. Because while I will vote in a certain way in order to hopefully give people the chance to fulfill that responsibility to take care of themselves and other people. We have the Declaration of Independence. We have the Constitution. These are documents that were created multiple hundreds of years ago by men who were imperfect, but trying to make our country a more livable place. I respect and appreciate that deeply. I do believe that there are things that could be better. There are always things that could be better. There's not going to be a good ending to this video because I don't know what I'm thinking about so many things. I'll just ask you in closing to not view me as someone who is anti-American people just because my ideology doesn't necessarily put America above all others. Do I love my country? Yes. Do I believe we should be first and best? No. My belief in what is Christ-like does not line up with that sentiment, that way of living. I told you these were going to be very unpopular opinions, so I'm really sorry. See you tomorrow.